Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Chapter 19. Sri Shuka Uvacha. Kim Purushe Varshe Bhagavan Tamadipurusham Lakshmanagrajam Sitabhiramam Ramam Tacharana Sannikarshabhiratah Paramabhagavato Hanuman Saha Kim Purushai Ravi Ratha Bhakti Rupaste. Sri Shuka Goswami said, My dear king, in Kimpurusha Varsha, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with inhabitants of that land in devotional service of Lord Ramachandra, the eldest brother of Lakshmana and the dear husband of Sita Devi. Arsthishteshena Saha Gandharvairanugiyamanam Paramakalyanim Bhartru Bhagavatkatam Samupashrunotis Kayam Shrunoti Swayam Chedam Gayati. The Lord of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Lord Ramachandra. That chanting is always extremely auspicious. Hanuman and Artisena, the chief person in Kimpurusha Varsha, constantly hear the glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Uttamashlokaaya Nama Arya Lakshana Sheela Vrataya Nama Upashikshitatmana Upasita Lokaya Namaha Sadhuvadha Nikashanaya Namo Brahmanya Devaya Mahapurushaya Maharajaya Nama Iti. Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija Mantra Omkara. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Lord, your lordship is the reservoir of all good qualities of Aryans, people who are advanced. Your character and behavior are always consistent, and you always control your senses and mind. Acting just like an ordinary human being, you exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There is a touchstone that can be used to examine the quality of gold, but you are like the touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by Brahmanas, who are the foremost of all devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the King of Kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Etadvishuddhanu bhavamatramekam swatejasadhvastagunavyavastam pratyak prashantam sudhiyopalambhanam hanamarupam niraham prapadye. The Lord, whose pure form, Satchidananda Vigraha, is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, can be perceived by pure consciousness. In the Vedanta, he is described as being one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he is untouched by the contamination of material nature, and because he is not subjected to material vision, he is known as transcendental. He has no material activities, nor has he a material form or name. Only in pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, can one perceive the transcendental form of the Lord. Let us be firmly fixed at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra, and let us offer our respectful obeisances unto those transcendental lotus feet. मर्त्यावतारस्त्विह मर्त्य शिक्षणं रक्षोवध्यायैव न केवलं विभोः कुतोऽन्यथा स्याद्रमतः स्व आत्मनः सीताकृतानि व्यसनानीश्वरस्य. It was ordained that Ravana, the chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man, and for this reason, Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramachandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravana, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is the cause of many miseries. He is the self-sufficient Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by kidnapping of Mother Sita? Navai sa atmatmavatam suhruttamah saktas trilokya sattah त्रिलोक्यां भगवान् वासुदेवः न स्त्रीकृतं कश्मलमश्नुवीत सलक्ष्मणं चापि विहातुमर्हति. Since Lord Sri Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshmana, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. न जन्मनूनं महतो न सौभगं न वाङ् न बुद्धिर्नाकृतिस्तोषहेतुः तैर्यद्विसृष्टानपि नो वनौकशश्चकार सख्ये भत लक्ष्मणाग्रजः. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken royal birth, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nonetheless accepted us as friends. Any Brahmana who drinks liquor is taken to Ayyapana, where agents of Yamaraja force him to drink molten iron. सुरो वाप्यथवा नरो नरः सर्वात्मना यः सुकृतज्ञमुत्तमं भजेत रामं मनुजाकृतिं हरिं य उत्तराननयात् कोसलान् दिवमिति. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or a bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and so as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Sri Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikunta. Bharatepi varsha bhagavan naranarayanakhya akalpyantamupachiti tamupachita dharmajnana vairagyair ashwar ऐश्वर्योपशमोपरात्मोपरमात्मोपलम्भन मनुग्रहायात्म vatamanukambhya tapovyaktagatishcharati. Sukadeva Goswami continued, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are inconceivable. He has appeared in the form of Naranarayana in the land of Bharatavarsha at a place known as Badrikashrama to favor his devotees by teaching them religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, and freedom from false ego. He is advanced in the opulence of spiritual assets, and he engages in executing austerity until the end of this millennium. This is the process of self-realization. Tam Bhagavan Narado Varnashrama Vati Bhihi Prajabhir Bhagavat Proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavadanubhavopavarnanam Savarnorupadekshamanaha Parama Bhakti Bhavenopasarati idam chabi grunati. In his own book, known as Narada Pancharatna, Bhagavan Narada has very vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, devotion through knowledge, through execution of mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Narada instructed the tenets of his transcendental literature to Savarni Manu in order to teach those inhabitants of Bharatavarsha who strictly follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, Narada Muni, along with the other inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, always engages in the service of Naranarayana, and he chants as follows. Om Namo Bhagavate Upashamashilayopa Ratanatmyaya Namo Kinchana Viktaya Rishi ऋषभाय नरनारायण परमहंस परमगुरवे आत्मा रामाधिपतये नमो नम इति. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Naranarayana, the best of all saintly persons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the most self-controlled and self-realized. He is free from false prestige, and he is the asset of the persons who have no material possessions. He is the spiritual master of all Paramahamsas, who are the most exalted human beings, and he is the master of the self-realized. Let me offer my repeated obeisances at his lotus feet. Gayati Chedam Kartasya Sargadishu Yona Bhadyate Nahanyate Deha Gatopi Daihikaihi Drashturna Dhrugyasya Gunair Vidushyate Tasmai Namo Sakta Vivikta Sakshine. Narada, the most powerful saintly sage, worships Naranarayana by chanting the following mantra. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this visible cosmic manifestation. Yet, he is completely free from false prestige. Although to the foolish he appears to have accepted a material body like us, he is affected by bodily tribulations like hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Although he is the witness who sees everything, his senses are unpopulated by the object he sees. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that unattached, pure witness of the world, the Supreme Soul, the Personality of Godhead. Idam hi yogeshwara yoganai pusham yoganai punam hiranyagarbho bhagavan jagadayat yadanta tvai nirgune mano bhaktya dadhitonjita dushkalevaraha. O my Lord, Master of all mystic yoga, this is the explanation of the yogic process spoken of by Lord Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, who is self-realized. At the time of death, all yogis give up the material body with full detachment simply by placing his minds at the lotus feet. At your lotus feet, this is the perfection of yoga. Yataihi kamushmika kama lampataha suteshu dareshu dhaneshu chintayan shanketa vidwan kukalevaratyayad yastasya yatra kshamayeva kevalam. Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in the future. Therefore, they are always absorbed in thoughts of their wives, children, and wealth, and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which are full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is so afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time. Tannah prabhotvam kukalevararpitam tvanmayaya hamsamata madhokshaja Bindhaya yenashu vayam sudurbidham videhi yogam tvayinah swabhavamiti. Therefore, O Lord of Transcendence, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute Bhakti Yoga so that we can control our restless minds and fix them unto you. We are all infected by your illusionary energy. Therefore, we are very attached to the body, which is full of stool and urine, and to anything related to that body. Except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Therefore, kindly bestow upon us this benediction. भारतेऽप्यास्मिन् वर्षे सरिञ्चैलाः सन्ति बहवो मलयो मङ्गलप्रस्थो मैनाकस्त्रिकूट ऋषभः कूटकः कोलकः सह्यो देवागिरिर्ऋष्यमूकः स्त्रीशैलो वैकुण्ठो महेन्द्रो वारिधारो विन्ध्यः सुप्तिमानृक्षगिरिः पारियात्रो द्रोणश्चित्रकूटो गोवर्धनो रैवतकः ककुभो नीलो गोकामुक इन्द्रकीलः कामगिरि चान्ये च शतसहस्रशः शैलास्तेषां नितम्भप्रभवा नधश्च सन्ख्ययाताः. In the tract of the land known as Bharatavarsha, as in Ilavrtavarsha, there are many mountains and rivers. Some of the mountains are known as Malaya, Mangalaprastha, Mainaka, Trikuta, Rishabha, Kutaka, Kokala, Sahya, Devagiri, Rishyamuka, Srishaila, Venkata, Mahendra, Varidhara, Vindhya, Suktiman, Ruksagiri, Pariyatra, Drona, Chitrakuta, Govardhana, Raivataka, Kakuba, Neela, Gokamukha, Indrakila, and Kamagiri. Besides these, there are many other hills with many large and small rivers flowing from their slopes. Samapo Bharatyah Praja Namabhirev Punanti Namatmana Chopasprusanti Chandravasa Tamraparni Avatodha Krutamala Vaihayasi Kaveri Veni Payasvini Sharkaravarta Tungabhadra Krishna Venya Bhimarati Godavari Nirvindhya Payoshni Tapi Reva Surasa Narmada Charmavati Sindhurandha Shonascha Nadau Mahanadi Vedasmrutir Rishi Kulya Trisama Kaushiki Mandakini Yamuna Saraswati Drishtadvati Gomati Sarayu Godhaswati Saptavati Sushoma Shatadrushchandra Bhaga Marudvrudha Vitasta Asikri Vishweti Mahanadyaha. Two of the rivers, the Brahmaputra and the Sona, are called Nadas or the main rivers, Nadas or the main rivers. There are other great rivers that are very prominent: Chandravasa, Tamraparni, Avatoga, Kritamala, Vaihayasi, Kaveri, Veni, Payasvini, Sarkaravarta, Tungabhadra, Krishnavenya, Bhimarati, Godavari, Nirvindhya, Payoshni, Tapa, Revati, Surasa, Narmada, Charmavati, Mahanadi, Vedasmruti, Rishi-kulya, Trisama, Kaushiki, Mandakani, Yamuna, Saraswati, Drishadvati, Gomati, Sarayu, Rodaswati, Saptavati, Sushoma, Satadru, Chandrabhaga, Marudvruda, Vitasta, Ashikini, and Vishwa. The inhabitants of Bharatavarsha are purified because they always remember these rivers. Sometimes they chant the names of these rivers as mantras, and sometimes they go directly to the rivers to touch them and bathe in them. Thus, the inhabitants of Bharatavarsha become purified. अस्मिन्नेव वर्षे पुरुषैर्लब्धजन्मभिः शुक्ललोहितकृष्णवर्णेन स्वारब्धेन कर्मणा नारकरातयो बह्वय आत्मन अनुपूर्णेन सर्वा ह्येव सर्वेषां विधीयन्ते यथा वर्ण विधानमपवर्गश्चापि भवति. The people who take part in this tract of land are divided according to the qualities of material nature, the modes of goodness, sattvaguna, passion, rajoguna, and ignorance, tamoguna. Some of them are born as exalted personalities, some are ordinary human beings, and some are extremely abominable. For in Bharatavarsha, one takes birth exactly according to one's past karma. If one's position is ascertained by a bona fide spiritual master and one is properly trained to engage in the service of the Lord Vishnu, according to the four social divisions, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and the four spiritual divisions, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, one's life becomes perfect. Yosau Bhagavati Sarvabhutatmanyanaatmye Nilayate Paramatmani Vasudeve Nanyanimitta Bhakti Yoga Lakshano Nanagati Nimitta Vidya Granthi Randhana Dwarena Yadahi Mahapurusha Prasangaha. After many births, when the results of one's pious activities mature, one gets an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. Then one is able to cut the knot of bondage to ignorance, which bound him because of varied fruitive activities. As a result of associating with devotees, one gradually renders service to Lord Vasudeva, who is transcendental, free from attachment to the material world, beyond the mind and words, and independent of everything else. That Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, is the real path of liberation. Etadeva hi deva gayanti aho amisham kimakari shobhanam prasanna yesham svidhuta swayam harihi yair janmalabdam rushu bharata jire mukunda sevaupayikam spruhahinaha. Since the human form of life is the sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in the heavens speak in this way. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatavarsha. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself must have been pleased with them. Otherwise, how can they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human births in Bharatavarsha to execute devotional service, but these human beings are always engaged there. Kim dushkarair nah क्रतुभिस्तपो व्रतैर्दानादिभिर्वा द्युजयेन पल्गुणां न यत्र प्रमुष्टातिशयेन्द्रियोत्स्वतान् योत्सवात्. The demigods continue, after performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows, and giving charity, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of heavenly planets. But what is the value of this achievement? Here we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten his lotus feet. Kalpayusham sthana jayat punarbhavat kshanayusham bharata bhujayovaram kshanena martyena krutam manasvinaha sanyasya sanyantyabhayam padam harehe. A short life in the land of Bharatavarsha is preferable to a life achieved in Brahmaloka for millions and billions of years, because even if one is elevated to Brahmaloka, he must return to the repeated birth and death. Although life in Bharatavarsha is a lower planetary system, is very short, one who lives there can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection. Even in this short life, by fully surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord, thus one attains Vaikuntha Loka, where there is neither anxiety nor repeated birth in a material body. Nayatra Vaikunta Kata Sudhapaka न साधवो भागवतास्तदाश्रयाः न यत्र यज्ञेशमख्या महोत्सवाः सुरेशलोकोऽपि न वैस सेव्यताम्. An intelligent person does not take interest in a place, even in the topmost planetary system, if the pure Ganges of the topics concerning the Supreme Lord's activities does not flow there, if there are not devotees engaged in the service of the banks of such a river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtana Yajna to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtana Yajna is recommended in this age. प्राप्तान् रुजातिं त्विहये च जन्तवो ज्ञानक्रियाद्रव्यकलापसम्भृतां न वैयते रत्न पुनर्भवायते भूयो वनौका इव यान्ति बन्धनम्. Bharatavarsha offers the proper land and circumstances in which to execute devotional service, which can free one from results of jnana and karma. If one obtains a human body in the land of Bharatavarsha with clear sensory organs with which to execute the Sankirtana Yajna, but in spite of this opportunity he does not take to devotional service, he is certainly not liberated forest animals and birds that are He is certainly like liberated forest animals and birds that are careless and therefore again bound by hunter, and careless and are therefore again bound by a hunter. Yaiha shraddhaya bahirshi bhagasho hiva nirru nirruptamishtam vidimantravastutah ekah prutangnamabhirahuto muda grihnati purnaswayamashisham prabhu. In India, Bharatavarsha, there are many worshippers of demigods. The various officials appointed by Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, and Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers offer the demigods their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshippers to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. Satyam dishatyartimatir Satyam dishatyartima yartitamartito nrunam naivartado yat punarartita yataha swayam vidatte bhajatamanicchata michchapi dhanam nijapada pallavam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of the devotee who approaches Him with such motives, but He does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at His own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and that shelter satisfies all his desires. This is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. Yadyatra na swargasukhavasheshitam srishtasya suktasya krutasya shobhanam tena janabhe smriti majjanmanah syad varshe harir yadbhajatam sham tanoti. We are now living in the heavenly planets, undoubtedly as a result of our having performed ritualistic ceremonies, pious activities and yajnas, and having studied the Vedas. However, our lives here will one day be finished. We pray that at that time, if any merit remains from our pious activities, we may again take birth in Bharatavarsha as human beings, able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord is so kind that He personally comes to the land of Bharatavarsha and expands the good fortune of its people. Sri Shuka Uvacha Jambudvipasya cha Rajannupadvipanashtau haika upadishanti Sagaratmajaira Swanveshana imam mahim parito Nikanadbhirupa kalpitan Tadhyata swarna prastaschandra shukla avartano Ramanako mandaraharinaha Panchajanyaha Simhalo Lanketi. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, in the opinion of some learned scholars, 8 smaller islands surround Jambudvipa. When the sons of Maharaja Sagara were searching all over the world for their lost horse, they dug up the earth, and in this way 8 adjoining islands came into existence. The names of these islands are Swarnaprastha, Chandrashukla, Avartana, Ramanaka, Mandaraharina, Panchajanya, Simhala, and Lanka. एवं तव भारतोत्तम जम्बूद्वीपवर्ष विभागो यतोपदेशमुपवर्णित इति. My dear King Parikshit, O best of the descendants of Bharata, Maharaja, I have thus described to you, as I myself have been instructed, the land of Bharatavarsha and its adjoining islands. These are the islands that constitute Jambudvipa. Thus ends the chapter entitled A Description of the Island of Jambudvipa. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.